All right, this is going to be a tough one to digest, but when is it okay to quit?
I quit.
I quit.
Yes, I did quit my job.
We've been taught since we were little kids that quitting is not a great idea.
Quitting is a really bad idea.
Why don't you just quit doing that and go do this? No, because what if I fail?
Well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful, but you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable.
We signed up for something. We did something. We can't quit. We got to stick it out. We got to tough it out. We're Americans. This is what we do. Well, maybe there's a time and a place where it's okay to quit, and then another time and a place where we may be quitting when we shouldn't be quitting. This is the Insurance Dudes. I'm Craig Pretzinger. Let's dive in. We're going to talk a little bit about what Seth Godin calls the dip. Apologies if this name was not pronounced correctly, but I think it's Godin. Anywho, little small book called The Dip. We just talked about it in our elite call with the Teledudes clients, and it was really exciting. It was fun to talk about this because it's a different way of looking at basically everything, right? We need to identify if we are in a dip or if we are in what Seth calls a cul-de-sac, right? Cul-de-sac means dead end, right? Not going to work. A dip is that time where we start to lose momentum after we engage in something. We start to lose momentum, or it's not quite as exciting anymore. We're not seeing the results yet, and then we quit, and we probably quit right before. Here's an example Seth uses. Let's talk about the average salesperson. The average good salesperson is going to make 5 or 6 attempts at connecting or closing that client. Then they give up. What they've found is statistically, the greatest likelihood of that close is on the 7th. And this was in a specific niche and blah, 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 all that. Let's consider that, right? They're quitting right before they actually would have got the best result. So they're quitting at the wrong time. There could be other times where they keep going, they keep doing it, and it's not producing a result. So let's take, for example, when we gather information, we tell them that we're going to call them back and we'll have that quote. Well, this is not a great idea because now we've created a situation where there's a greater likelihood that we're not going to reconnect with them. This is an activity that if we keep doing it this way with the leads, it's probably a better idea just not to do it, right? To quit that activity. So important to distinguish. And this comes with an awareness. We talk about this a lot. If you're on the Instagrams, it's what everybody's talking about is being aware, right? Having gratitude, all of these things that are really important, but sort of also buzzwordy. So it's easy for us to filter them out. But what we need to remember is how important it is to hold true to being aware of what's going on and considering that we could be either in the dip or in the cul-de-sac. Here's another example, folks, that we talk about buying internet leads, putting callers on them, all the different things that need to happen in order to get results with internet leads. The vast majority of people, including myself, when I first started with internet leads, and actually multiple times, we quit in the dip, right? Think about this. If this has ever happened to you, would love it if you threw a comment or challenge us on it, send us a message. But imagine buying those internet leads. We expect that quick result. If we're doing all of the right activities, we are still going to experience that dip. Because we come in excited, we do what we think we need to do, which is call. We may not know how many times we need to call, but let's assume we do. If we have the perfect process down and we're approaching leads the right way and we have all of the pieces in place, we are still going to experience the dip, which is starting strong, getting some results, maybe a little bit of results, but not close to what we wanted to. And it'll start to peter as we're trying to figure everything out. And when we hit that bottom, that's when we quit, right? The pain is too much. And we see it time and time again, where potentially in the beginning of us creating the whole infrastructure of the Teledudes and folks utilizing those systems or even talking about it, and then people doing it on their own and then quitting because they didn't get results. What we found is how important it is to understand and recognize and be aware that the dip will occur. Now, maybe there's a 1% chance, 2%, 5%, whatever it is, some low percentage that it doesn't occur. And that's, of course, if we come in stronger, we're spending more, we have more callers, more leads, then yeah, we're going to get results quicker, but still not to the same scale of results that we'll get after we pass through the dip. So really, really critical concept to understand and recognize. We've talked about it a little bit differently, not necessarily calling it the dip, but talking about where it's uninformed optimism turns into uninformed pessimism, turns into basically where we quit, right? Same thing. So a lot like the dip. So I encourage you to go out, grab this book. It's short, it's quick, it's a fun read. It's going to pump you up, but it's going to make you think, right? It did enough where my mind was rotating enough that I had to talk about it to all of you insurance dudes and dudettes. And I hope you go find it. It's called The Dip, Seth Godin. I am going to go after him too to get him on the podcast. So the more of you that read it, the more of you that grab that book, the greater likelihood that we're going to be able to pull him in on the podcast. So please post in the Facebook group for the insurance dudes if you haven't, that you got it and you're excited, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for being an insurance dude.